everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin, I'm a geek, you're watching Kevin the Geek, and welcome to another edition of responding to your comments. This is my monthly video where I check out your comments left on videos over the last month and I respond to them. Now, of course, I'm never going to be able to promise I'm going to respond to every single one. I'm only going to respond to ones that I genuinely have a response to. But you'll probably see that I have liked every single comment that's come through, because I really appreciate all the time and effort you guys make to type your comments in, and I'm going to try and continue doing this for as long as I can, because it means that I can still have this connection with you guys. And this is a problem with YouTube, you can see me but I can't see you, so this is the best way I can to thank you, to thank you for all of the likes, the views, the comments, everything. So much love to each and every one of you. Of course, with my Christmas ad, we are in December. It is my Christmas month, so I'm loving all of the comments that you've left on some of my Christmas videos so far, and just keep putting them all in. Keep giving me your suggestions for things that you would like me to react to. I'm getting to a point where I'm having to really rethink how I'm going to do things in the new year, because I'm getting so many suggestions of things to do. Obviously, I've got so many shows that I've been doing long continuing runs of, where I'm doing them weekly, and I'm at this point now, I was like, I don't know if I can keep continuing doing them in the format in which I have. What I will say, when it comes to January, there's probably going to be at least a week or so where I don't release any videos, because of course this is kind of coming to the end of my first full calendar year of doing YouTube, and I've loved everything that I've been doing. But obviously October I released, it was something ridiculous like 50 odd videos. November I've done a huge amount. This month, of course, I'm doing a lot, and I don't want to say that I'm feeling burnt out or anything like that, but it does take a massive toll, considering I work 5 days a week. And so I basically come back, and usually most evenings I'm recording probably 2 videos at a time. Then of course I'm editing them. Editing doesn't really take me that long as such, but November it really did, because there was a lot of videos which did take much longer to edit. Then of course I'm exporting them, which normally takes a couple of hours or so. So really do appreciate all your love, but do appreciate that it does take quite a while for me. So I probably will have just a little bit of a pause in January, just to kind of recapture my breath a little bit, and still do a couple of videos so I can kind of have a bit of a breather. So yeah, that's just an idea of what's going to be happening. But if you have any suggestions of how to do things moving forward in the new year, then please do let me know. But that's enough talking from me. Let's get reading your comments. Doctor, they, them. So this was left on one of my Doctor Who review videos. Greg, when I refer to the Doctor, I will always use the chosen pronoun of the actor that is portraying the Doctor. So if I'm talking about David Tennant, Matt Smith, Peter Wilder, anyone like that, I will use he. If I'm talking about Jodie Whittaker's era, I will use she. If there comes a time that we have a Doctor that goes by they or them, I will try and use the they them pronouns. I'm very respectful of people's views and their right to choose their personal pronoun. That is someone's choice that they are making. So Yasmin Finney, who plays Rose, the transgender daughter of Donna Noble in Doctor Who in the most recent specials, and of course the character, both go by she, and I will go by she when I'm doing that. That is just my way of being respectful. But when it comes to the Doctor, typically if it is a man playing it, I will say he. If it is a female playing it, I will use she. That's just the way I do things. A bit late to this reaction of Taskmaster, but you didn't disappoint. I think Mel was planning to make a candle, but she ended up giving all the wax seals to a Taskmaster fan, the kid of somebody she worked with. Excited for Series 5, it's definitely up there with one of my favourites, just above this series I reckon. Well, of course, by the time you wrote this, you may or may not have realised that I was doing all of Series 5 throughout November, and I hope you really enjoyed it. Would you watch Only Fools and Horses? The series is class. If again, by the time that you would have wrote this, you wouldn't have known that I was going to be releasing Only Fools and Horses in November, and I did release the entirety of the first series of Only Fools and Horses in one video. So there was a link to all 6 episodes from the first series, and I am going to be doing the Only Fools and Horses first Christmas special later on this month, so make sure you stay tuned. This has always been one of my favourite episodes of British Empire. Your trademark British chaos was at full maximum in this episode. This was the first episode of Series 4, by the way. Probably the biggest at this point in the series. I can think of just as not bigger in later series, but this one takes the cake at the moment. The small moments are great, such as Sebastian Coe being changed to a stairrail, the Roman action between Britus and Co, losing a loved one, 10 ways to look on the bright side, but of course what makes this episode great was the ending. It was really sweet and heartwarming to see Gordon's good intentions pay off even in the smallest of ways. Definitely one of the best, and for Series 4, the best has yet to come. I absolutely am a sucker for a really heartfelt and tear-jerking ending, and I thought that final scene where that single mother came in with her daughter and the daughter gave some flowers to Gordon, that was a truly heartfelt moment, and it felt really earned. It felt like something that had just been building and building, just like all the other stuff has been building and building, but that was an ending that in the early series could have felt very kind of basic, but by this point, by Series 4, it was a truly earned moment. I'm so dumb. I noticed he struggled with playing as Seems Shot when the coffin came in, but my mind didn't think he is a killer. You know what, in Death in Paradise, I think the way that the writing has been in the first series is a testament to how clever they are at writing it. They always give enough information for you as a viewer to be able to work out who the murderer is, why they're the murderer, and how they did the murder. But they are clever enough to make it so that you second guess yourself and you doubt yourself in the same way that the detectives would in this show. So no, you're not dumb, because I also fell for it. Hey Kevin, great reaction to Still Game. Could you do more reactions to Gimme Gimme Gimme? The episodes get better, buddy. As I said, great job, bud. So I did do again the second episode of Gimme 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 in the month of November. If you missed it, go back and check that one out. And it is one that I will continue doing in the future. Like I said at the start, I don't quite know how I'm going to do things in the new year. At the moment, the way I'm thinking about doing these is having certain shows remain weekly, or possibly go to once every 2 weeks. Possibly, I like I said, I'm still trying to figure this out. And then have a core group of TV shows that will end up being more of a like a monthly series. So I only do like one episode a month. There are definitely shows like I've got them kind of in here at the moment. At the moment, things that I'm planning on doing potentially on a monthly basis is like Gimme Gimme Gimme, Are You Dave Gorman, Dave Gorman's Modern Life is Goodish, Only Fools and Horses, Desmond's, Ghosts, An Idiot Abroad, Chewing the Fat. There's so many of these, and then at the moment I'm trying to, because you think that there's so many shows that at the moment I'm really enjoying and want to keep watching, and I know that you guys are really enjoying the reactions to them. So yeah, it's really difficult at the moment. At the present moment in time, if I'm going to be doing ones that I'm going to be keeping as weekly or potentially as once every 2 weeks, Still Game will definitely be one of them. Benidorm will definitely be one of them. The British Empire will definitely be one of them. I'm going to try not to do so many like double uploads in a day, because that will of course really pad out my the time I need to do for these editing. Like I said, October was a mammoth month for me. It was insane because virtually most days were double episode days of various different things, and yeah, I don't know whether I can sustain that long term. So like I said, if you have any suggestions, please let me know. Another great reaction. I'm really looking forward to the next episode of Still Game and the start of next season, as these are some of my favourites. Really appreciate the time you put into these videos. You're really clocking up the hours every month. Yeah, like I just said, it takes a lot of time. I mean, I can bulk load a bunch of reactions. Like I said, I work 5 days a week. Typically, when I do, when I have a day off, I will normally try to record maybe 4 or 5 episodes, on one of those days off, and then, on the days that I'm working, I can maybe do one reaction that I do a recording for to keep me ticking over. So I've got a core group of stuff, and then basically I can edit them very, very quickly. I'm at this point with these reaction videos, I can probably edit it now within about 10 minutes, but it's the exporting that takes the longest amount of time. On average, for a half-hour video, it probably takes about 3 hours, 3.5 hours to create it as a video file. For the hour-long videos, on average, sometimes, again, it will of course depend on the quality of the videos, but anywhere usually from about 4.5 to potentially like 8 hours it may take to export the whole video. So yeah, I really hope you appreciate that it does take quite a bit of my time to put all these together, but I'm doing it for you guys at the end of the day. Kevin, you ruined the bit in Benidorm when Martin was on the toilet. He said all he had left was his dignity, then he farted out loud just as you laughed over it. We missed the fart. Other YouTubers at least stop or rewind a bit, never comment too much when the video playing in general, not usually a problem, but I like listening to a good fart as long as I don't have to smell it. It's hard doing reactions. I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. It's not easy to do reactions because I'm very conscious that you want my reaction to what you're getting at the time, and people will want to hear my commentary. Well, I mean, some people do. Some people just literally want to see a reaction and nothing else. Some people want to hear my thoughts afterwards. It's really difficult to find that perfect balance, and I don't think anyone is ever going to get a truly perfect balance. I like the way that I do things personally. You may disagree, but I like the way that I do things, and I do try and rewind. If I feel I've missed something, I will try and rewind. But of course, you've got to think that these are reactions that are live, and there will sometimes be something that I think that, like for example, that little fart, I could obviously hear it through my headphones, and I thought it maybe came through. I don't necessarily know that something is going to necessarily come through on the audio or not. So I apologise if you wanted to hear the fart and I didn't let you hear the fart. I don't know what else I can say on that. You did Leslie's laugh perfectly from Benidorm. Don't do it again. Sorry. Thank you for taking the time to reply to our comments and actually give thoughts to what gets said. Yeah, like I said at the start, I'm not going to ever promise to read out every comment. I've gone through this, and there's some videos where I get no comments, and there are others where there's like 25 odd comments, and I'm not going to have the time to be able to do this, because otherwise you will have a video that's probably about 10 hours long, and it's not fair to expect you to sit here for 10 hours listening to me ramble on. But I will absolutely do what I can to respond to your comments if you give me something that I can legitimately respond to. And like I said, for me it's this way of being able to connect with you guys, because I'm nearly at 1,000 subscribers. I'm just under 200 away, about 170 or so I think at the time of me recording this. Which the more and more people I get, it's gonna get harder and harder. So I will do this for as long as I can. Would love to see your reaction to The In-Betweeners. It's absolutely hilarious as it's so relatable. I'm 36, so it's very much around the time I was at school or just after. It's one of my favourites, I'm sure you'll love it. I think the older audience not so much, as it's pretty vulgar with sexual innuendos throughout, but it's pretty realistic for teenage boys. Hopefully you'll add it to your long list. There's also 2 movies that are just long episodes really. I'm a massive Red Dwarf fan too, so either of these would fill the void Still Game would leave. So, with The In-Betweeners, firstly, I think there's something that I remember my friend saying that he had heard when he was at university, which I think from my memory would have been around about the time possibly the second movie would have come out. And this person said to my friend that he, because there was another show that kind of aired around a similar time called Skins, and he basically said for a lot of people, Skins is what people like teenagers would have liked their teenage years to have been like, but in reality The In-Betweeners was what it was more realistically like for the majority of teenagers. Now, I can't say at this stage whether I agree or disagree, because I've only ever seen Skins. And, you know, there are definitely people that I know who definitely live their lives like the teenagers in Skins. With The In-Betweeners, I did see the first ever movie. I've never seen the TV show, and I didn't see the second movie. And with the first movie, I basically watched that with a girl that I was sort of dating, and we went to the cinema. She wanted to see it. I didn't know anything about it. I do remember that I kind of liked it and I found it funny. But, of course, that would have been, you know, what, a good 10 odd years ago. So I don't remember anything from it other than I found it funny. But also, I would have had no context to it. So I think at some point I will need to react to The In-Betweeners. And hopefully that will enable me then, when I watch the later 2 movies, if I get that far, that, you know, I actually gain some context. And so I will enjoy that first movie probably more so than I did when I originally watched it with no other context. The Day-to-Day and Brass Eye both go extremely dark at some points. I love it. Well, I quite like dark stuff too. It allows you to go into slightly different realms. I mean, there can be limits, don't get me wrong. You know, if you go too dark and too crude and too vulgar, then I'm like, ugh, maybe not. But as a general rule, I quite like dark stuff. I really enjoyed oh god, what was it? Oh god, I can't even think. Yeah, it was the White Bear thing that I watched for Halloween. Black Mirror. There we go, Black Mirror. I really like that. Obviously, that wasn't really a comedy as such, but from what I hear, Brass Eye is a bit of a comedy, and I will be open to watching those in the future. Of course, The Day-to-Day, my plan at the moment is, because obviously that's relating to Alan Partridge, I'm probably going to watch on a monthly basis all of The Day-to-Day, followed by the only series of Knowing Me, Knowing You with Alan Partridge, which then they have a Christmas episode. So if I do that, in theory, by the time I finish those, which would in theory be November of next year, I would then be able to do the Christmas episode next Christmas. So I'm thinking long terms for you guys. Not Going Out is one of my favourite reaction videos at the moment, thank you. I've definitely enjoyed it, and again, this is one of those ones that I do want to continue. Like I said, I don't know how next year's going to pan out. You know, it quite possibly may be that Not Going Out is for a little while one of those monthly series, and then I, you know, replace, you know, the likes of Still Game or Benidorm. When I eventually finish them, I then put another kind of weekly video in its place. Like I said, I've just got so much stuff that I really want to watch, and I know that you guys really want to watch. So any suggestions you've got, please put it in the comments and let me know. Yay, Series 5 of Taskmaster. I love this series a lot. Everyone is great. Ashling's hilarious. Sally's completely unhinged. Bob's brain needs to be studied. And Nish's joy is contagious and refreshing compared to his usual stuff. It's hard to pick a favourite, but I think it's Mark. So awkward, but he tries his best and he's really underrated. Plus, he's been lovely every time I met him. Well, I'm jealous of you that you've actually met Mark. I think as a overall cast, this has to be the strongest because of the togetherness and how well they've all worked together. Some of the others, at times, you feel that certain ones are a bit more individual, but this one feels like a really good group dynamic, and I really loved Series 5. I think the first Christmas special of the British Empire is pretty much spoiler free. Oh, well, there's a pretty big spoiler at the beginning. The second one should wait until after Series 6 begins to see, unless you don't mind a pretty serious spoiler. Yeah, so I think that pretty much clarifies it up. I am not going to jump forward and do the Christmas specials of the British Empire. I will just do them when it would naturally occur within the series. Yay, I'm really happy you're continuing with Ghosts. Waiting for more The Smoking Room, please. Yeah, like I said, it's when I can fit them into the schedules. You know, again, Smoking Room is one that I would love to continue. Ghosts, I am most certainly definitely going to be continuing. But yeah, when I'm going to fit them in, I don't know. Alright mate, you should start Rabsy Nesbitt. Funny show, great Scottish humour and just raw Scottish most times, lol. Thank me later once you watch. I can guarantee if you missed my monthly plans, you know, my plan for December, where I revealed some of the things that I've got planned for the month, I can confirm that Rabsy Nesbitt, the first episode, which is a Christmas special, will be happening this month. I 100% agree with what Mel said at the end of Benidorm episode, that men should be men. And I disagree. I feel that everybody should be whatever makes them feel comfortable. If it makes someone feel more comfortable to have feminine traits, let them be happy. That's the way I am. You know, I am definitely not what most people would consider a manly man. I'm a strange one. Like, I love my football, and I will get so intensely excited, you know, whenever I'm watching my team or England, you know. But at the same time, I love musicals and I love singing and dancing, and I will cry at a girly movie or a scene in a TV show that kind of gets me emotionally. I am happy to be an emotional person, and if someone says that you're a bit feminine, so what? It doesn't matter to me, and so it shouldn't matter to you. Next week's is good, especially when Madge and Mel sing. Kevin, you might need tissues to wipe the tears away. I believe it's one of Mel's last appearances. Lucky for you that by the time I've read this comment, I have recorded my reaction to the Benidorm Christmas special. So obviously I now know what is coming. I get what you're saying, but please don't give me spoilers, even hints of spoilers. You know, it's okay to say something like, next week it might be a bit emotional, something like that. That's fine. But yeah, try not to give me any spoilers about, that a certain character might come into a show, or a certain character might leave a show, or someone's gonna die, or whatever. Just try not to give me spoilers. I really hate spoilers. Gimme gets better and better with each episode, so please continue reacting to them. I am going to be continuing reacting to Gimme. Love that episode of the British Empire. Mild Redward Link, one of Rimmer's books in Marooned, was Biggles Learns to Fly. It's a real book too, so could easily be a coincidence. And quite possibly may not be. Obviously Chris Barry's in both, so who's to say? It could have been one of his favourite books as a kid, and he likes to have it slipped into the conversation. Falkinen is Jack and Greg Hemphill is Victor. There's a great video of the Still Game cast doing The Slosh to Beautiful Sunday. You may recall that song from episode 3 in series 2 Doctors. That's worth checking out. Ford is in the DJ booth singing on the mic, and he has a brilliant voice. Keep up the great work, Kevin. #legend. No, you guys are the legends for just helping me to stave off boredom and have fun and be able to provide you with some, hopefully you feel it is great content for you. That is definitely something I'm going to try and add to my list if I can find that. If you've got a link for it, even better. Put it in the comments, because it makes it so much easier for me if you can provide a high quality, or even just a link to something you would like me to check out. I completely agree on the couch talking segments in Chewing the Fat. Even when it first aired here, we all hated it. Thankfully, they did get rid of it quite quickly. The episodes get better as they go on. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more episodes, and of course, you don't have long to wait. There is going to be another Chewing the Fat episode this month. It is going to be a Hogmanay special, which I think kind of skips forward, because I think the one I've got is going to be after the Series 2. After Series 2. I could be wrong there from my memory. I think it was like the 2006 one, the one I've got downloaded in my file. But like I said, I could be wrong. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see if there is a big change in the quality of stuff. But then, when I go back and continue on, I will be continuing from episode 3 onwards. Are we still calling men skanky for sleeping with multiple men? Men sleep around and suddenly it's all boys will be boys. Makes zero sense to me. So that was from the Still Game Series 4 finale, where I called the mother of the bloke skanky for having sex with a bunch of men, and so she didn't know who the father was. I think context is so crucial for me when it comes to saying stuff like this, because at the end of the day, I am personally not one of those people that will go around going, "Oi, yeah, you go around, you shagged 5 women in a night, legend, yeah, you're great, mate." I personally don't like that. I am the kind of person that would prefer to have a single sexual partner, and that be it. She be my soulmate or whatever. That's my personal viewpoint. I don't like people shagging around. I understand that people will do that, but of course, when you're talking about this woman in this episode, where she would have slept with 4 different men within such a short period of time that she doesn't know which one of them truly is going to be the father of the child of her baby, I'm sorry, but you're a skank love. So Paul here left kind of a couple of things from my Benidorm episode. He first said, "Without looking, I'm going to have a guess that you know Una Stubbs from Sherlock." Then he went on to say, "Well, damn, I couldn't have been more wrong. Summer Holiday, geez, oh, that's a long time. That's long before your time." I've never seen Sherlock. I'm presuming you mean the one with Benedict Cumberbatch. No, I've never watched it. I would really like to, because I like Benedict Cumberbatch and I like Sherlock and I like detective shows and stuff. Plus, I like the fact that it is sort of a modern retelling of it. I like the fact that it's Stephen Moffat, because I enjoy his time as Doctor Who showrunner. So yeah, that is something, again, I wouldn't mind reacting to at some point in the future. Let me know if that's something you would like to watch. But yeah, Summer Holiday. For me, growing up, obviously this was time before you've got access to all these different stuff that the kids do these days. I'm kind of jealous at someone like my nephew who's only 3, but having access to like YouTube and voice people and everything. Like, we didn't have anything. I was of the generation where we had videos, so it was before DVDs. And so my mum just had so many old movies and TV shows and stuff that she recorded, and so it was just a collection, and we would just watch a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again. And Summer Holiday was one of those, and I just loved that movie. I appreciate not everyone is necessarily a fan of Cliff Richard, but for me, I love that movie. So the next 2 comments are from the video where I spoke about the Doctor Who Children Need Special, and Russell T Davis, talking about potentially like kind of retconning Davros and making him not have a disability anymore. Alan says, "Interesting talk, but do you really want a character to receive a disability so that they can provide visible representation of it? Would that be a preference in the real world? If so, you could volunteer to go first. P.S. Number 12 conferred immortality and it was problematic. That was an interesting take." I don't want anybody at all in the world to ever have a disability. But unfortunately, People will have disabilities. You will have people that are born with deformities. You will have people who have accidents and they lose an arm, they lose a leg or whatever. That is life. I don't want anyone to have to go through that. If I could have a wish that nobody ever gets sick, nobody has injuries or anything like that, I would want that wish for everybody in the world. But you've got to appreciate that it is not a thing, and people are going to get disabled, and some people are going to be born disabled. And ultimately, my whole point is that if you are going to want to improve the representation for people with disabilities, if you truly believe that it is a trope that people with disabilities are negatively portrayed, then give them a positive representation. I don't want any kind of TV show to have a character in it for the sake of it, for the sake of representation's sake. But if you really, as a creator, want to give positive representation, then do it with a positive character. And I believe that there's a character in the first of the three specials from the Doctor Who 60th anniversary, from A Star Beast, which of course I hadn't seen at the time of doing this video. And that was a character who was in a wheelchair. I don't know whether Russell T Davies specifically wrote that, kind of what I was saying, to give a positive representation, but she was an awesome character. I loved the sass that she had. I loved the fact that her wheelchair had rockets in it and stun kind of needle dart things, you know. If he was going to go down a avenue of positive representation, that is the kind of character that you should be doing, rather than retconning an existing character because they don't fit with your ideals. That's my personal view. And George kind of followed this up, and kind of along with what I was saying, what's stopping them from creating a disabled protagonist? A lot of protagonists are that way. Luke Skywalker with a missing hand, Toph Fong, blind, I don't know that character, and Professor X, paraplegic, largely wheelchair bound, to name a couple. Their disabilities don't get in the way of them being tremendous characters and forces to be reckoned with in their respective universes. In fact, Toph thrives on her disability and it never defines her, allowing her to push the boundaries of possibility. This is exactly what I was just saying, with that character that he's put in there with the wheelchair and the rockets and everything like that. It's a character who, okay, yes, she's disabled, but is she letting that stop her from leading a worthwhile life? Hell no! She's actually probably doing more so than most able-bodied people, and that's the kind of representation you should have. And to be honest, I completely forgot about Professor X. He's really, the main one I would take for that. Luke Skywalker with the missing hand, I would say yes and no, because he basically gains full functionality through a robot hand. So that one I'll kind of take it or leave it. But Professor X, yes, he is wheelchair bound, and he is an absolutely awesome character, especially when he was played by Patrick Stewart. Dave Gorman's important astrology experiment is another good one that people forget about. He follows to the letter the advice of astrologers to see if his life gets better, using his twin brother as the control group. And this is one that I'm probably going to do once I've done Are You Dave Gorman? So at the moment, with my Dave Gorman stuff, what I'm currently planning is doing monthly Are You Dave Gorman, because there's only 6 episodes of that. This one, I have found that it is apparently on YouTube, so I should be able to do my reactions to that quite easily. The other thing that I will be doing, which a lot of people have suggested, and it will probably be one of my earliest videos in the new year, but I am going to do Dave Gorman's Google Whack. So I know that there's going to be a lot of people who's going to be very excited to see that. I feel honoured to have been part of your journey since before you made actual videos, supporting your live video game streams and beyond. It has been a joy to see your quality and output evolve over the last year, and the quality is a million times better than those initial early videos and shows that hard work does pay off. Cheers to the next anniversary. Thank you, Pedro. You were, of course, one of the very few people that joined me on my New Year's Eve video game kind of stream last year. For New Year's Eve last year, I got Jackbox. There's a kind of a series of video games called Jackbox, which are like party games, which you can play and then other people can join on using their phone or tablets or computers, and you basically play games. And it's a very community type thing. If people would like me to do something similar to that this New Year's Eve, because at the moment I've got literally no plans at all, other than releasing my my Still Game Hogmanay special on New Year's Eve. Other than that, I've literally got no plans. So if people would like me to do a live event so that we can maybe all have a bit of a chat together and a few drinks and nibbles, play some games or something like that, let me know if you would be interested in anything like that. I love Only Fools and Horses, but it's one of those shows that doesn't really find its feet and get to its stride until probably Series 3. Still plenty of classic moments and episodes in the early series though. I think there are very few TV shows that really hit the ground running, like right from the get-go. There are so many of them that it gains enough traction in its early series to kind of find a little bit of following, and then it usually really takes off. Red Dwarf was definitely one of those, and Still Game is one of those that I think really did hit the ground running, and I love that. And Benidorm, again, maybe you could argue that it kind of found its form from the second series onwards, but the first series was still really good. And I'm excited to continue watching Only Fools and Horses. Loves your thoughts at the end of the pilot. The thing about Only Fools and Horses is, yes, it takes time to find its feet, and every series almost betters the previous. The other observation I had, given it's my all-time favourite along with Still Game, is that the British love an underdog. We love to root for the triers, and this is exactly what this show does. I can't stress enough how wonderfully written this is, and without any spoilers, captures the balance of comedy and emotion perfectly. I can't wait for you to see it really get into gear, and look forward to enjoying it again with you. And I think this is why people like reactions and reaction videos, is because you forget a lot of the time how good you enjoyed something when you watched it for the first time. You're never going to get that experience back. Like, obviously at the weekend I did my reaction to the second of the Doctor Who specials, for the 60th anniversary. This was the Wild Blue Yonder episode, and in that I got to see for the first time the last time I will ever see Bernard Cribbins on TV, in his final ever performance. It was something that is now captured on film, and the joy that you can see in my face. I'm never going to get that experience again, seeing him. I mean, there will be other stuff, maybe when he's, in his early years, but I'm never going to get that excitement of seeing him in a new thing in his later years for the first time. I'm never going to get to see him in Doctor Who again for the first time. And so that's why I like doing these reactions. It kind of gives a connection to you guys for stuff that you enjoyed watching, and seeing someone live that again, it kind of brings back those emotions of your reactions for the first time. You could have just started the next series of Still Game, then watched the Christmas episode next week. It makes no difference. I know it makes no difference, but for me, I think it allowed me to kind of give you the Live at the Cottiers Theatre in a nice little interval. It gave you the behind the scenes video for Still Game, and also for me, I'm a little bit OCD at times, and I like kind of clear cuts. Like, I was a bit annoyed that I'm kind of midway through series 4 of British Empire before I paused for the Christmas month. So yeah, I know it wouldn't have made any difference, but hey, this is my channel, I'll do it how I want. Thanks for reacting to the Still Game behind the scenes. This is on the standalone DVD for Series 4 as an extra feature. I'm not sure if they brought it over for other releases. Yes, it is true that Bobby was originally going to be written out of the show, which would have been interesting to see how it would have been without him in it. However, Gavin needed the money to pay bills, etc., so they changed their minds, as said in the video. Yes, Sean Connery was originally interested in playing Winston, which would have been interesting to see, but I think Paul made the character his own. It's always hard, isn't it, when people talk about, oh, so this person was originally potentially going to play such and such thing. The one that always sticks out in my mind was the Men in Black movies, and apparently one of the early frontrunners to play the main character, the one that Will Smith played, was David Schwimmer from Friends. And Will Smith was so good in Men in Black, and I can't think of somebody else, especially Ross, playing that character. It would have been for me a totally different movie. It's how Beverly Hills Cop, a movie that I absolutely love, that originally that was just going to be a straightforward kind of stereotypical action summer blockbuster, but by bringing in Eddie Murphy, he made it so much funnier, and it made the movie completely different to probably what it would have been originally had he not done it. So yeah, I find it interesting hearing these things, but then it's hard to picture what it would have been otherwise. Hi Kevin, just to let you know there is a still game live at the Hydro if you're interested in watching it. I think it's on YouTube. John, I think you probably skipped my intro to the video, and for any of you guys who watch any of my videos, if you only want to watch the reaction to something, fair enough. But I always do an intro and I always do an outro where I'll give you a bit of context before watching something, and I'll give you some thoughts after I've watched whatever it is I'm watching. And ultimately, in the intro to the Live at the Cottiers Theatre video, I did say that I will at some point do a reaction to Live at the Hydro. Love your content, brother. Not long joined your channel. Well, welcome to you. Is this an every Sunday thing for Still Game? So again, like I said, going into January, I don't quite know what the plan is going to be. But yes, what I've done since starting Still Game, it has literally always been 10 o'clock on a Sunday for my Still Game videos. Sometimes there's been a few extra videos, in which case I normally do them at 6 o'clock. But generally, when I release videos in the weekdays, it is either 8 AM or 6 PM or both. The weekends, it's usually 10 AM and 6 PM or potentially both. Season 2, Episode 7, Victor says that he occasionally smokes, but often a cigar for special occasions. To add, hope you're impressed with how long this is without cuts and they not forget any lines. No offense to the Queen, but be glad that you didn't carry her as the lead line coffin and going up and down the stairs. To me, ace is always low unless it's blackjack. I just know get 21 when can be either. Yeah, I think I must have forgotten that, and this is the problem when you watch so many episodes. You will forget things at times. So yeah, I forgot I didn't mention he technically does smoke at times. With the whole learning the lines thing, I am and I'm not impressed at the same time, because I do theatre myself. So I do know that it takes a lot to learn things. I'm probably more impressed with some of the more American shows where they do things like Friends, for example, where they are literally recording a new episode every week. So typically they will get that week's episode on the Sunday or the Monday or whatever. Then they've basically got to try and learn as much of it as they can in that week before they kind of rehearse it on the Friday and then record the episodes usually on the Saturday. Those are probably the ones I'm more impressed with. But when it comes to these live stage shows, on one hand, no, I'm not impressed because, like I said, I do performance myself, so I know what it takes to put the shows together. But I am impressed because it is only a triple header, and I know that those ones are going to be harder to learn than maybe, say, if you do a full musical where there's 20 different characters and people come in, so there's less lines to learn in it compared to this one, which, like I said, is a triple header, or even if you have double headers where you've got so much more to learn. So yeah, I am and I'm not impressed. I hope that makes sense. What about movies? Would you ever watch movies if possible? So far I have watched one movie on the channel, which was The Shining at the end of October, and people seem to really enjoy my reaction to that. I did do it as a two-way thing. I basically did it as a kind of cut and condensed version for YouTube, and then I also gave you the full kind of unedited version of it. What will be happening this month? Again, if you missed my kind of plans for the month, I am doing 2 movies this month. I'm going to be doing the reaction to The Polar Express and Nativity. So that's 2 movies there, Christmas related, of course. Going into next year, I would like to do more movies. I have purposely avoided going to the cinema to watch the latest Marvel movie, The Marvels, because I will probably try and do a reaction for that in the future. because I want to do more of a content. There was a couple of shows that have come out this year. I basically didn't watch anything beyond Guardians of the Galaxy. So Secret Invasion, I haven't watched that yet, and I will probably react to that on the channel. I didn't watch Loki and Series 2, and I'll probably do that. The What If, I know that'll be coming out later this month, so again I'll want to do some reactions to that. So yeah, I do want to do more movies on the channel. So those would obviously be a little bit less frequently because they take up a lot longer. Obviously, it's longer to watch. Typically on average, it would probably be 3 or 4 episodes worth of say for example, Still Game. But then I've also got to take a lot longer to cut it. I think when it came to The Shining, because that was like pretty much nearly a 3-hour movie. I think that probably took me pretty much a full day to edit that, to kind of cut it down. The actual full-length thing, that was a little bit easy to do, but yeah, the full-length movie, yeah, that took a long time to edit. So if you have suggestions of things that you would like to see, whether it's British, when it's a lot more mainstream, whatever, put them in the comments down below. I will consider adding them to the list. When's the next Not Going Out episode? At the moment, I don't know. It will be in the new year. Glad you're still enjoying Desmond's Like Still Game. It's a show that starts good and gets better. It's also Channel 4's longest running sitcom in terms of actual episodes, with 71 in total. Keep up the great work. #legend. Thank you. Again, you guys are the legends, not me. But yes, I will continue on with Desmond's. I've enjoyed what I've seen so far, and long may it continue. Season 16 of Taskmaster is over, and it's the first Thursday without a new Taskmaster episode, so this is nice during my time of mourning. I would love to see a Loser of Losers edition, and I totally agree about not revealing the series scores in the finale. This episode is one of my favourites ever, probably just behind the finale of the latest series. Mark and Nisha's song is wonderful, and the credit scene is just so wholesome. I hope you continue with Taskmaster. I am definitely going to continue with Taskmaster. I love it too much, I think, not to continue doing it. I liked doing my way of kind of doing the double episodes in one. I don't know at this stage whether to kind of allow for more days to do other stuff as well. I don't know if I may just end up doing Taskmaster a little bit less frequently, and maybe doing it like half a season at a time or a full series at a time. So like for example, just releasing in one day, one video going, here's all the episodes to series 6. For example, I don't know how I'm going to do this. But yes, Taskmaster will continue in some way or form. And this final comment comes from the first of the Doctor Who special episodes, A Star Beast. Glad you like this instead of all those reactors complaining about woke stuff. It was only recently that I've started looking into what the term woke actually means, and I'm personally not a fan of the word and the term. At the end of the day, we are living in a world that is constantly evolving and changing, and things that happened and were common and traditional 20 years ago, 50 years, 100 years ago, they are not they're not necessarily acceptable in modern life, and we have moved on from some of those things. Like slavery is obviously one of them. That is an absolute abhorrent thing to have happened, and I'm ashamed that was ever part of human history, but it is. We have moved on from it, and okay, some people may think of slavery still existing in some way, shape or form, but largely we have moved on from it. I hope that we get to a point where we move on fully from racism. Again, we're already so much further away than what we were at one point, and I think Doctor Who as a show, it needs to evolve with the times, and having episodes like the Rosa episodes with the 13th Doctor's era, that shows that was a thing at a time, but we are better than that as a race. And okay, we're still not perfect, don't get me wrong, but we are definitely better than we were. And ultimately, I think a lot of people who use the term woke are often, I won't say everyone, I won't tarnish everyone with the same brush, but I will say that I feel that some people who complain about something being woke is often those people who have a bit of an underlying penchant for, stuff that maybe isn't necessarily acceptable. But is that just me? Is that just my naive way of thinking? I like to think that as a society, we can be better than people of the past. And there are going to be people in the future who are better than me. And I am glad that there will be people better than me in the future. So, that is my roundup of all of the comments, some of the comments that have been left on videos in the last month. Apologies if I didn't read out any of your comments, or if only some of them or whatever. But yeah, I like the fact that I can still communicate and connect with you guys on this kind of personal level. Like I said, if you have any suggestions of things you would like me to watch, let me know. If you would like me, like I was saying about like New Year's Eve, if you would like me to do some kind of live event to round off the year, again, let me know, and I am definitely happy to try and put something together, whether it's a live stream or playing some games or whatever, whatever. I'm really happy to consider doing so. So thank you for once again watching, viewing, liking, subscribing, all the usual stuff. Like I said, I think we're if I just take a very quick look, I can tell you exactly how many subscribers we are on at the moment. It is 830 at the time of me recording. So yeah, thank you for keeping me going, and let's try. I'd love to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I insanely doubt it. I think this will be something to target for next year. But yeah, thank you so much once again for joining me, and I really appreciate you if you've stuck around to this point. But that's going to round up this video. Thank you again. My name's Kevin. I'm a geek. You've been watching Kevin the Geek. Merry Christmas to each and every single one of you. Bye-bye.